to going into college football. We're gonna start that. I'm not even too for sure where we're at. Hold on real quick. Engineer, help us out here. Where we at?
Oh no, it's up there. It's up there. It's up there. We see it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
So we're going into hour number 2. Yeah. Hey, walk with us. This is the first episode. We're gonna screw up a lot.
I didn't see that. I'm no sorry, engineer. I apologize.
Okay. So we're gonna have a nice little, and this is gonna be the first discussion, just like the NFL. It's not gonna be all done in one take. This is a long-term discussion. There's something going on with the NCAA with conference realignment. Mm-hmm. We can't get to it all in one take, but we're going to start, as you said, you want to start with the Pac-12?
So the big news is, start with it. The big news is, that the realignments. So what happened was, the Big Ten announced, or no, let me rephrase that. UCLA and USC announced that they were leaving the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten. We kind of saw this coming, and people are shocked about it. But what it is that we saw a preview of this when Texas and Oklahoma, correct me if I'm wrong, Selena, it was Texas and Oklahoma. I think they go to the SEC. So they announced that last year. So then, which is ran by ESPN. It's SEC. Let's just be honest about that. So the Fox, who runs the Big Ten, technically, they really run the Big Ten. They decided I think they got behind this, and they convinced them. Now what this does is, and I think what people are asking, well, why is this such a big deal? Because if you do it, let me paint the picture. If you look at the Big Ten, they have schools all in the Midwest region, right? Top North Midwest region. They don't have a West Coast market. They have to use the Pac-12 for the West Coast market, which Fox basically runs. And you got Rutgers. Give or take, whatever. So you don't.
You got something against Rutgers?
I don't have nothing. Well,
I think me you do behind closed. We're not gonna air that out, but I know where you're going with it.
Yeah. I'm gonna lead on with that a little later on.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a certain media coordinator. Don't even get me started. These media credential people that are super clowns. But let me get on it. Don't make me. Yeah, I'm gonna pull a Dame Dash on them one day. Trust me when I tell you. That is my goal in life. But now go back to what I was speaking about. And you're right, I am a little salty about it. So what I was talking about is that they now have the West Coast market with 2 of the biggest schools, USC and UCLA. You can't get no bigger than that other than with Cal. So you have the whole Midwest region. So now basically you got 2 conferences that took probably the top 4 teams in any other conference. If you think about the other schools, even on the East Coast, they don't even have those biggest markets like that. But when you're talking about USC, UCLA, Texas, and Oklahoma, those are big markets. And those are big markets. The SEC has one, and the Big Ten has another one. Now, what this means is I think we're heading towards a super conference. That's where this is going. So that's kind of, even though that's the big news, the bigger picture is we're heading towards super conference, more like what you see in the NFL. And the other schools are because the other schools, and it's so much to break down in this, we can't do it in just this one take. I think other conferences are going to start out the aligning. Okay. It is, because the Pac-12 is a mess right now. They just lost their 2 top schools.
Aligning to remain competitive, or aligning
to competitive and financial. Let me also say this. Sorry, Selena, not to cut you guys off. I saw this when I was telling you before about the blueprint we was creating. I'm not going to speak on our blueprint because nobody's going to take that from us. I saw when UConn went to the AAC, okay? And everybody was happy and go, and it's going to do a lot for everybody. It did in a way, but it really didn't, and I know it's on such a smaller level, but then UConn pulled out of it. They said, we don't want to do this no more because we like the head people. The UConn basketball program is just a different market. The UConn football program is, and it did a lot. The AAC did a lot. When they formed all those schools, I think this is why this is happening too, because I saw that a few years ago. So when you had the AAC, to give a short version, it's only going to be a few minutes, you had Tulsa, Memphis, Cincinnati, Temple. You had certain schools from down south, southwest to east, right? East Carolina, all types of schools. And it was a good mixture. It did a lot for the programs and a lot of exposure. But financially, it didn't do big for UConn. The UConn fan base don't want to go out there, man. They don't want to go out there. So not to cut you off. So in my whole thing, they kind of said, we're going to go on our own block. We're going to go to the Big East. And we're going to make our football program independent. Watch they join somebody too. Just watch out for that because that's coming. I think what these other conferences saw was how it started aligning and how much it was beneficial, because that didn't happen until that did. And then about 1 or 2 years later, here comes Texas and Oklahoma joining SEC. And now, a year later, now we got USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten.
Okay, so we still got a lot of time on this topic, but I want both of your takes. So you just gave a nice overview and context of starting this discussion with conference realignment. Any one of you can take this.
Go ahead.
Who stands to be the biggest winners or losers from a financial standpoint? Or am I phrasing that right?
You're phrasing it correctly. 1,000. You want to take this, Celine?
I'll defer to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, look, we're being nice. We're being cordial.
Because wait, time out. Is this because we're talking about the Big Ten and we're not talking about the SEC? Yeah. I want to know that. Is it okay? All right. Yeah, I hear you. I'm not a Big Ten fan, so I just want to let you know. All right.
Yeah.
Is Purdue in the Big Ten?
No, they're in the SEC.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, they're in the SEC.
Well, basketball, right?
Purdue's in the Big Ten. No, they're in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Big Ten. I'm
Purdue.
sorry.
We had a cousin for Karl Malone that played for Purdue, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So it benefits all schools because the money gets spreaded. So before, you would never catch a team like USC going to play Michigan. Like, that's just not going to happen. That's just the Rose Bowl. It's just not going to happen. Now they're in a conference where they're going to play each other, and it's going to be big. That's going to be a big game, no matter where it's played, whether it's played at the USC Stadium or whether it's played at Michigan Stadium. And they have to play each other every year. It just has to happen. So it benefits even the smaller schools because all that money gets divided within that conference. It all goes. And they need those teams that's already in the conference, not to be goofy, but as cupcake teams. Also, those schools can also recruit other kids and say, hey, we know we're the smaller team, but if we get a bunch of you guys to come here, we can compete with these guys in this conference. So it helps them out also. You get what I'm saying with this? You can get kids to go, and then the NIL deals, oh my God, that's out of control. So now with all this coming down, it helps them big. The SEC, basically this is a bidding war between Fox and SEC. So Fox and ESPN.
Don't go too deep in that, but yeah, because that's going to be one of my questions.
Because what's going to end up happening? Let me tell you what's going to end up happening. They're going to both. It's going to become networks are going to get behind conferences, and they're going to talk to the schools, and they're going to be like, "Yo, look, let's do this," and they're going to get other schools, and they're going to tell them to come over here with us. So I can assure you, you ain't seen the last. Because didn't Cincinnati? I think Cincinnati's joining either SEC or Big Ten. They're joining somebody. I forgot who Cincinnati's joining, but they left the AAC. So just watch. It's survival mode. So it's now it's causing so much craziness. The Pac-12 is now talking to the Big 12 about making a conference together because they can't survive. They gotta do something. They can't.
Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? And I'm going to paint the picture real quick before I give you the question. So one thing in basketball, especially from AAU, like there's a big article that came out years ago about how the sneaker companies are influencing AAU teams and telling them, hey, yo, we'll endorse your travel team, but this person is going to Duke and we're plugged into Duke. So the sneaker companies have a major influence in AAU teams and college, and that all blew up in their face. I don't have time, 30 minutes to talk about it, but you can go look up articles on a link between major sneaker companies, AAU, and college and how it influenced players. Comparing that to the NCAA as we're talking in the context, do you think the pull that these networks got, Fox, ESPN, it looks good right now. Do you think it's going to hurt them or help them in the long run?
In the long run, I believe it may work to their favor. It may be beneficial.
For the smaller market schools like he was talking about, or just overall for the...
Overall.
Okay.
Overall,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Go ahead. You can ask me.
So I want to ask you the same question because as I gave the analogy of the sneaker companies influencing high school basketball, AAU teams, do you think this is a good thing long term for these conferences, or do you think it might blow up in their face?
I think. Well,
is there any level of corruption that can?
No. I think at this point it's because the higher ups are now doing it, so we ain't gonna never catch that. What I think is what I'm thinking in the back of my mind is like basketball. Like, how's that gonna work? How like USC is gonna try? That's what was the problem with the AAC. It was Connecticut. Like, they didn't want to do all that. The fan base didn't want to do that. I don't know how basketball wise and the other sports is gonna work.
Okay.
So I think maybe at the beginning this might look, but I guess with all the money, it's not gonna really make a difference. The thing is the money. They must have something that they're being told, like, money wise, yo, this is going to work out. Because, I mean, traveling from USC to Michigan, I don't understand how it's going to work. Traveling from Texas to Alabama or Alabama to Texas, I don't know how that's going to work for basketball games. I don't understand that. I understand that, but it's a difference when you play in conference play.
Okay.
See, for non-conference, you got to do it once a year. So it's like when we cover UAlbany, who they play in a non-conference, they don't go to Kentucky twice or once a year.
Yeah.
They might go that 1 year, and then maybe 2 or 3 years down the line in non-conference play, they play them again. When you're talking about conference play, you have to go out to Kentucky. And so say UAlbany joined, who's a big conference on the East Coast? Say they join the ACC. They got to go. Yeah, they can't. They got to go to Clemson, and Clemson has to come up here. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering on that note how that's going to work. But I guess with all the money, they'll figure it out. And I guess when you got Fox and ESPN behind you, you can figure out anything. You know what I mean?
So we said we're going to start off Pac-12, correct?
Yes, Pac-12.
What school does this benefit the most in the Pac-12?
For right now, the Pac-12, maybe California. I don't know. Oregon, because Oregon didn't leave. Oregon's still there. But, I mean, you had USC coming up there. You got USC coming up there no more, man. And they ain't going to USC no more. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think, as far as with the Pac-12, I think what the Pac-12 is going to do is what they're trying to do now. They're going to go to the Big 12 and say, look, we got our block, you got our block, you got your block. Let's combine our blocks and let's have our own block and just say screw, USC and UCLA. We just got to create our own block and do what we got to do. Because if they don't, I don't know how you're going to survive. I just don't see it.
I want to throw you back to alley-oop. So we talked about conference realignment. And again, we're not going to overdo this conversation because we have to continue throughout the weeks on talking about this. Does this hurt or help any HBCU schools? Like in the Meek and the SWAC, the Jackson State. Do you think this will affect any of the HBCU football schools? Any one of you can go.
Do you want to go? You can go. Okay.
Yeah, you can go.
I think it brings an awareness. If for people that don't know, we cover CAA college football. So there's 2 HBCU college football programs in there, which I don't know what that is about. But salute to CAA. They do have the market to bring an awareness and bring promotion to them. The Meek and the SWAC, whoever the commissioners are, need to put this stuff to the side, and I'm saying this most professional way, and figure out, and what Dion has said and what I should say, create a conference.
Go ahead and say it.
Create a super conference. Create the conference and make it the Meek and the SWAC and combine it together. Why are y'all having separate conferences? It's not benefiting you. And, let me tell you something else, too, that I feel strongly about, because I remember when that popped off. The dude the gentleman, the coach that won, the South Carolina State coach, his name is slipping right now. When he won the game against Jackson State, I think he had came out and said at first he was against it, the bowl game or whatever. You think you're getting that credibility, that recognition if y'all not playing Jackson State? Do you think anybody cares what you're doing? Do you think anybody even sees on TV what you're doing? We don't even know your social media presence. We don't even know what you're doing. So what kids are you going to recruit to go to HBCUs when you can't even push it? That probably
Keith Sweat said
you know what? That probably helped them more than he ever knows. So that tells me there's an old school mentality there that they clearly don't want to let go of. So either you hold on to that mentality and watch other programs, other conferences take your schools, or you get together and you can create a super conference. Because I could tell you it's and let me just say this. I could tell you what they're not thinking about. I could tell you kids is looking. There's no way Alabama should get credibility to get those kids first before the SWAC kids do. Those SWAC schools. How is that possible? What are they bringing to the table? You mean to tell me that Nick Saban and them is that important? If y'all would put in the credibility and create a super conference, they would get behind you. But don't nobody want to do it because they looking like, nah, we got our own block. We figuring it out. What block is that? I don't even see Meek games on. I don't know where they're being played at. And don't they get me started on basketball because
that's a whole other conversation.
Let me tell you that the games are restricted to YouTube. I'll leave that there. Your basketball games are restricted to YouTube. Really? My son watches YouTube and he's 5. Try again. So what I'm saying is, as for HBCUs, to answer to your question, stop the BS, get together, create the super conference, and have your own block. I can assure you I'll watch that. Because I don't know what we watching now. I don't even think you know what? This year, if because they create stupid challenges on social media all day. I dare y'all to find a Meek game, a Meek football game, a Meek conference football game on any big network.
Hashtag Find Me Conference on Twitter. We're gonna start that challenge.
Yep. We'll see how much big promotion and Instagram and Twitter and social media. We'll see how much it goes on to that.
Y'all get it together, man.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to add to the discussion?
No.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so that finishes up that segment of college football. Hold up, time out. Interject.
No. It's not time. Like I want to.
You keep going.
Oh no,
edit it.
Okay, all right. No, you good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Grown,
I just sometimes feel like I don't know. Like when we talk about the topics, people are playing dumb, and my whole thing is that with that Meek and SWAC, that should have been taken care of. Because I know if CAA has a football media day, I know I'm going to see North Carolina A&T, and I know I'm talking to Hampton. And it ain't got nothing to do with the Meek. Nothing to do with the Meek. Matter of fact, let me give you one more clip. I apologize for extending this. I remember looking at the defunct BNC News Channel, which we didn't own at all. And then I remember watching a media day. And my God, the guy couldn't have been more boring asking questions himself. And I was looking like, this is the guy you got watching on media day. The news channel guy was asking coaches on media day, and it looked like he didn't even know, like he just didn't want to do it. He looked like he didn't even want to be there. What you doing, man? And you get a check for that? You just sitting there, yeah, well, what are you going to do this year? I mean, my son could have did better than that. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. So let me make this clear. And I don't care who takes offense. This is a wake-up call. Y'all either get together or y'all going to have nothing to talk about from this one. Y'all schools, you're going to look up and there ain't going to be no school there. Because I can assure you, what that told me from this conference alignment, the one main thing that I want everybody to understand, that they just basically flex. They're basically telling the conferences, you either get with us or you lose.
Get down to lay down.
What you going to do about it? What the Pac-12 going to do about it? What they really going to do? Fox is probably looking at them like this. Do you really want to go to war? Is that what you want to do? That's cute. Do you want me to take California from you too? I'll take you, Cal, because I'll call their coach and cut a check that you could never touch.
All right. So